Do you love marble nails, but you don't want to use gels and a lamp to do them? Then I have a solution for you. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer. Today we are doing a marble look with no gel needed. We are only using dip liquids and dip powders. When you're picking out your colors for the marble, you want one color to be white. That is going to help with the dip powders to really make the marble stand out. So I picked a white, and if you saw the lid of it, it says pink on it. So this white is called Casper, and it's like a pure white. But I contaminated it with a little bit of pink, probably like 2 years ago. So I just use it anytime I do decals, or I saved it for when I want to do marbles. And that's going to be your base color. You want to do 1 to 2 dips of white as your base color. Now my nails are really short. I have a thin layer of rubber base and builder gel down on my natural nails, so I don't need to build an apex. If you need to build an apex, I would actually recommend doing it with clear dip powder instead of using the color dip powder. Typically, people get better adhesion when you use clear dip powder to build your apex. So I only need to do 2 dips of the color and then 1 dip of clear on top. I went through and I did my 2 dips of white on the 2 nails that I'm going to do the marble on. And then I didn't bother how I normally go through and add clear on top because I'm going to do the marble over top of those. And I went through with my other nails to do the pink. The pink is called Confident. These are all colors from OG Dip Powder. The pink was this bright, deep pink, and I have been wanting to wear it for a while. And I thought, oh my gosh, it would look so cool if I did a marble with pink and gray and white. And anytime you're doing a marble with dip powders, it works really well if you do white plus 1 to 2 other colors and then do some kind of like shimmer or really fine glitter in with it. That'll help your marble really, really pop. So the gray that I'm using is called Raise Your Glass, and it's a super shimmery gray. So I thought it would be a perfect offset with the pink and the white. When you're applying dip powders on short nails, especially when you're applying them on your dominant hand. So I'm right-handed, my dominant hand is my right hand. I really struggled to learn how to apply dip powder onto that hand because it was not natural for me to use my left hand to pretty much do anything up to this point. Now I actually can do a lot more with my left hand since I started doing my dip nails because I've taught my left hand how to work. And I never really did before. I always just used my right. You want to make sure that you have something steady, have something to steady your hand on. So when you're dipping on your dominant hand, your non-dominant hand is not going to be used to being as steady. So I like to set my hand or a finger on a finger rest. I have a little one here that I'm using. If you want something with more stability, you can use a palm rest or like a full finger rest. The ones that I'm using, all of this is from SJ3 Designs. The finger rest, I like the little ones now that I've gotten used to doing my nails more. I like how the little ones work for me so I can really like focus down on one nail. Once in a while, I will use the full finger rest, the palm rest. It just kind of like depends on my mood and how tired I am. But I would definitely recommend steadying your hand on something. Even when you're dipping using your dominant hand to apply dips onto your non-dominant hand, I still like to steady my hands. It just helps overall to keep your liquids from flooding your cuticles. And I'm less likely to be messy when my hand is steadied on something. You always want to trace around your cuticles after each dip that's near your cuticle line. That's going to help the dip base and powder from not sticking to your skin. Anytime that you leave dip base and powder stuck to your skin, that's going to allow for your nails to lift a lot faster. And now I'm leaving this part in the video where you guys see me drop the whole thing of dip powder. Where I was going to pour it back into the jar, it literally just slipped right out of my hands. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I talk about I do my nails at night. I'm tired. It's late. So what always happens is I end up making a mess. And this one I was like, oh man, come on. Luckily I had cleaned up my area where I did this side of the mani. I had like wiped it off with alcohol. So I knew I could just scoop the powder back in. And then like for the first part, I just laid my nail right into the pile of powder that I had. I am very clumsy. I'm very messy. I tried this other new little thing. It's like this scraper that I got, and it really helped me clean up the dips. I actually ended up only losing a really small bit of dip. And I was really happy about that because I really like this pink and I feel like I'm going to wear it again. So it was nice to be able to quickly clean up most of what I had spilled. And then I just went through and like cleaned it up with some alcohol, and then I sprayed it down with some cleaner just because I didn't want to make any more of a mess and get it stuck. So now we're going to jump into the marbling. This is not my first time that I marbled, but it's the first time I tried this method and made sure that I actually did it correctly, because all the other times I've forgotten things. So I got a little marbling tray a few months ago from the SJ3 Designs, where I get a lot of my other like the nail tools that you see me use, finger rest, stuff like that I talked about earlier. And what you want to do is after you've done one dip of the white on the nails that you want to marble, then you want to take a little bit of the white and put it in one of these marble trays. So once the white's in the marble tray, then you take your other colors. So I did the pink that was on my other 3 fingers, and then I did that sparkly gray. You drop little bits all over top of the white, and then very carefully mix it in with like a toothpick. You don't want to mix it in so far that all the colors blend way down. You are just like superficially mixing it into the very top layer. And then you tap it a tiny bit onto like the table that you're using so that it kind of falls right into the white, that it's just mixed in there. And you can see how it looks in the little marble tray. It's like all really cool mixed in there. That's what's going to give it that marble effect, because you apply the dip base over your entire nail and then just lay your nail on top of that. So having the white base is a really, really helpful. It's going to keep your marble looking nice and really pop. That's why it also helps to do white with one of the marble colors. I tried it the other week without white in it, and all the colors blended together. So the addition of white in it really, really helps to make your other colors pop. Now, I'm sure there's other ways to do it with just solid colors or like shimmer colors without any white. But for me, when I did that, I just did not get the same effect that I did on these nails, using the white as the base and then using white in the marble. So you apply the dip base really evenly over your entire nail and lay it flat. And I laid it flat in one area, and then on the second nail, I laid it flat like in a different area of the little marble tray, and it worked so well. I was super excited to see how they turned out, really cool and marbly effect with this marble effect. And I let it dry for probably like way long. I know it was a couple minutes. Normally, I just brush off my dip pretty quickly, but since I did not want the marble look to move at all from where it was, I made sure that I let it dry an extra couple minutes before I went over with clear dip powder. And I did my clear dip powder on my pink nails in the meantime to really, really make sure that the marble nails were dry before I brushed anything off, just to be like extra safe. I was so nervous about messing up the marble that it would like move around if I brushed too hard. I encapsulate everything in clear. Anytime I'm using dip liquids, I always apply clear as my last layer. It locks the colors in, and it really helps when you're buffing and shaping to keep them nice and not have your colors like get ruined if you file too hard in one area or buff too hard in an area. So I would highly recommend that, especially on, your dominant hand. When you're dipping on your dominant hand, you're not going to be as good at like buffing and shaping as you are using your dominant hand to do your nails on your non-dominant hand. So when you're doing a marble, it's really, really important to do the clear dip powder over top of it. Then you're not going to mess up any of that beautiful marble that you just worked so hard to do. So I poured over the clear dip powder a couple times, and then I like poured it over again. I didn't show it in the video, but like I just kept pouring it over. I was really nervous that when I activated that it would mess up any of my marble effect. I did not want a drop of it to be messed up, even though it's like, a messy marble look. Still, I wanted to be extra careful by using the clear dip powder. And if you guys haven't noticed in my more recent videos, I am trying really hard to slow my talking down a bit. A few of you have left comments and sent me messages that I talk a little bit too fast in my videos. I'm trying really hard not to talk so fast. By nature, I'm a really fast talker. I'm Italian, I talk with my hands and I talk fast, but I'm trying really hard not to. I do know that when I'm doing my nails live, I talk a lot slower because I'm focusing on my nails. So I'm going to try to do some more lives for everybody to really make sure that if if my videos move too fast, that we are going to also have some lives for you guys that you can follow along doing a little bit slower of a mani. Now, you can see when I'm doing my top coating, I like snapped the top coat brush off. I'm just really not gentle with pretty much anything. And I've broken lots of, pretty much like every one of my nail products I have figured out a way to break. I've yanked off tops of dip liquids, like snapped them off. I've done it too. I've been doing that for the past couple years, and I like in my head I tell myself I'm going to be really careful, but then I never am just because it's not in my nature. So we're doing the top coating here. And you want to make sure that you follow the top coating steps with whatever liquids you're using. I'm using the OG dip powder liquids. So with those liquids, you do heavy activator on 5 nails, wait 10 seconds, then starting with the first layer of top coat floated in 2 to 3 quick, even thin strokes. And then you go right back once you get to your pinky on the first layer, you go right back to your thumb doing the second layer, and you can go a little bit slower, but I float both coats. If you're pumped to try this marble, but you're like, Nicole, I am still struggling with getting my cuticle lines nice, then make sure you check out this next video where I will teach you how to get perfect cuticle lines. Thanks for joining me today, Nail Crew.